In 1918, on a cold gray morning off the coast of Australia, a group of experienced fishermen refused to go back into the water. These were not nervous beginners. These were men who had spent their entire lives on the ocean. But on that morning, something had changed in them permanently. They sat on the shore, some of them shaking, some of them completely silent, and they refused to move. When authorities asked them what they had seen, the men described a shark so massive that their own 50-foot fishing boats looked like small toys floating next to it. A shark that moved through the water with a slow, ancient confidence, as if it had absolutely nothing in this world to be afraid of. Scientists dismissed it immediately. The Megalodon had gone extinct 3.6 million years ago. Case closed. But the evidence that has been quietly accumulating in marine biology laboratories and deep-sea sonar recordings tells a story that is far more disturbing than anything those fishermen described. Men who had seen storms that would terrify most people. Men who had pulled creatures from the deep that most people never see in their entire lives. The Megalodon. Its name means big tooth. In ancient Greek, a single tooth was larger than an adult human hand, spread wide open. Its jaw was so wide that a fully grown adult human could stand upright inside it, with room to spare on either side. Its body stretched to 60 feet in length, roughly the same as 2 school buses parked end to end. The great white shark, the most feared marine predator alive today, reaches a maximum of 20 feet. The Megalodon was 3 times that size. Scientists have found the bones of blue whales, the largest animals to have ever existed on this planet, with Megalodon bite marks carved into them. This animal did not hunt seals or small fish. It hunted whales as a routine meal. It ruled our oceans for 20 million years, surviving ice ages, volcanic events, and mass extinction events that wiped out the majority of species on Earth. But knowing something is extinct requires evidence across its entire habitat, and the entire habitat of the Megalodon was the ocean. And then, 3.6 million years ago, according to official science, it was simply gone. An ocean we have explored less than 5%. In the 1950s, a research vessel dragging collection equipment across the Pacific Ocean floor at 14,000 feet pulled up something unexpected: Megalodon teeth. This alone would not have been surprising. What was surprising were the laboratory dating results that came back weeks later. These teeth were not millions of years old. The manganese crust analysis dated them at between 11,000 and 24,000 years old. To understand why that number matters, consider what was happening on Earth 11,000 years ago. Humans were building the first permanent settlements. The foundations of civilization were being laid. And at that exact same moment in history, according to those dating results, a Megalodon was alive somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. These findings were quietly filed away in a laboratory drawer. They changed nothing about the official scientific consensus. But they were never explained. No official explanation was ever offered for how teeth from an animal supposedly extinct for 3.6 million years ended up on the ocean floor. In 1954, a ship called the Rachel Cohen docked in the port of Adelaide, Australia. A steel chain designed to hold a large commercial vessel against ocean currents had been physically bent as if something had closed around it completely and applied force. The engineer who examined the damage wrote in his personal records that the only thing he could imagine producing that kind of force was something with a jaw large enough. The Mariana Trench descends to 35,876 feet below the surface of the Pacific. If you placed Mount Everest at the bottom, its peak would still be over a mile underwater. The pressure at those depths is over 1,000 times the pressure at sea level. There is no light, no warmth, just crushing darkness. The giant squid was considered a myth until 2004. The colossal squid was unknown to science until 1981, in a layer of sediment only 11,000 years old. Nobody asked that question loudly enough for it to receive an answer. The crew reported that something had grabbed their anchor chain while they were at sea. Not frayed it, not worn it down, bent it to close around the chain entirely. Something very, very large. And yet life thrives there in forms we are still discovering. Every single year, marine biologists announce new species found in conditions previously thought impossible for life. Every year, without exception. In 2021, a commercial fishing vessel operating 200 miles off the coast of New Zealand was running standard sonar sweeps when their equipment registered something that stopped everyone on the bridge. An object at 2,000 feet beneath their hull, approximately 40 feet in length, moving at a speed that the first mate, a man with 22 years of commercial fishing experience, described as unlike anything he had ever seen on a sonar screen in his entire career. It followed them. For 23 minutes, this object tracked the vessel, maintaining a consistent distance below, moving when they moved, adjusting when they changed course, before finally descending back into the depths and disappearing completely. Two separate marine biology institutions reviewed the report. Both returned the same response. The object could not be identified as any known species. When the first mate was interviewed 2 years later and asked directly what he believed was beneath their boat that night, he looked away for a long time before answering. He said that in 22 years on the ocean, he had felt confused, surprised, and uncertain many times, but he had never felt genuinely afraid of what was beneath him until that night. The ocean covers 71% of our planet. We have mapped more of the surface of Mars than we have of our own ocean floor. Something has been living in that darkness undisturbed for millions of years. Something that left fresh teeth on the ocean floor 11,000 years ago. Something that bent steel in a port in Australia. Something that follows vessels on sonar at speeds with no explanation. Whether that something is a surviving megalodon or something else entirely with no name and no category, the honest answer to whether the megalodon is truly extinct is not yes. The honest answer is that we have absolutely no idea what is down there, and that should frighten you far more than any answer ever could.